Welcome to another episode of Mental Health Mondays, where we talk to guests who are either professionals in the mental health space, mental health advocates, or those with that live with experience or experience mental health challenge. See, not about perfection. It's all right. As a reminder, depending on where you're watching this, whether it is on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, make sure you mash down the subscribe or the follow button so that you don't miss any other episodes. But I am super excited to bring on my guest, Jessica. Today we did her podcast before. Now we're doing mine, which is super exciting. So let me bring her in. Hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is so exciting. I love being on the receiving end of a podcast or an interview. It's exciting.
Yeah, I know. We recorded yours, which will be launching here in October, which is exciting. But tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. This is really, I'm honored to be here and sharing this space with you. I'm Jessica Barratt, and all that I am follows. So I am a professional within, and I work within mental health and mental wellness and well-being. But I'm also somebody that had PTSD and through two traumatic births. So a bit about my professional background. I am an entrepreneur in all senses. I'm a therapeutic social worker. I am training. I can say the actual title is I'm a TheraPlay informed practitioner. So I will be fully qualified. I'm on that journey now. I'm also going to qualify in drawing and talking therapy. I am a podcaster. I have my own brand, Your Ultimate You. I'm recently this year, one of my biggest goals was to become a published author, and I have done that. And that links in with the PTSD, but it's where I was part of my healing journey. I shared my story of my traumatic births. I'm a mummy to 3 incredible children under the age of 5. So that's my full-time love and role in life. And yeah, a busy lady, but my passion is to make a difference in people's lives, especially women and even more so mothers. And I therefore do that through being a positive and self-care influencer, wellbeing practitioner. In fact, I'm creating a platform for any form of wellbeing practitioner, which launches next year, which is really exciting, a huge challenge. But yes, so that's me, kind of professional role. And then more of the mental health side of, I've never really suffered with anxiety in the past. And it was only when I had what I call a frying pan to the face kind of moment hit me back in 2020. I had a major anxiety attack. Never experienced anything like it in my life. It pulled me over to the side of the road. I was driving my car with one of my babies in the back, and I had to pull over because I thought I was going to die. It was horrific. And I had no idea what I was going through. Didn't have a clue what was going on. Fortunately, I brought myself out of it and I got home safely. But that was the biggest moment of this is not me. I've not been me for a long time. I've been very defensive, very cold and sad, just going through the motions. And that was like to the face. And that's when I started my journey of healing and actually obtaining therapy, having I cannot say it properly, EMDR, light therapy or touch therapy. And it just basically was to helping me process the trauma that I experienced. And I'm now definitely the person because of those experiences of who I am today. And I'm very grateful for that journey, though, albeit it was not easy in any sense. So, yeah.
Wow. I mean, just being on the road and like going through that experience, because anxiety and panic attacks can also mimic like heart attack symptoms. Right. And so that can be super scary. So that's amazing that you're able to pull over, get through that, and then make it home. But yeah, I mean, definitely an experience that you never can explain to somebody unless they've actually been experiencing that, but then ultimately led you into what you do now, which is incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I know that you talked a little bit, you said a little bit about the traumatic bursts. Is there anything like within that really helped lead you also into this space?
I would never change the journeys of my twins who were born, all 3 were born prematurely. via emergency cesarean section. So the twins were born at 33 weeks and 1, and my youngest was born at 35 weeks with very severe health conditions as well. I'm a type 1 diabetic, so that really did play a big role on their births. As much as I had good control, it still had its impact on my children. They're fine, they're healthy and thriving in life now. The experiences themselves has definitely helped shape who I am now. As I mentioned, I've never changed that journey again, because without it, on retrospect and through reflection, the experience itself has helped me learn the lessons from it, and it's life lessons that we learn and we grow from. So I'm grateful for that. In fact, the love I have for them is just infectious and incredible. And yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, just having to go through that as a mom and knowing, I mean, luckily we live in the day and age that technology is so advanced that they're able to help preemies now more than they used to back in the day. But having that experience is definitely, another journey that is really hard to explain. But I think it's amazing the work that you do as a parent and as the ultimate you, right? Like trying to help all the women that you possibly can, and being in this space of healing, I think is just really incredible too. So
Thank you.
yeah. And I know you are in the UK, correct?
I am indeed, yes. I'm in the south, so South Oxfordshire, very nice part of the country. Very green when it's not raining and the sun's nice and whatever. It's lovely. It's really nice, yeah. Hence my accent as well. Very, very British.
But that's, I mean, the thing that I love about this is that we can create this space where we can have anybody from like all over the world, right? And you're able to come in and we all share very similar challenges that we go through, right? Like mental health doesn't have any borders. There's not just one country or one continent that it touches, right? Like it's a global crisis really at this point due
It is.
to
And it doesn't discriminate.
there's no discrimination. And so that's why I love bringing on guests that are from other places in the world and being able to share their journey too.
Absolutely. And I think it's so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, so somebody who would want to work with you, what exactly, the words are like not formulating in my brain for some reason, but what exactly would they experience or what would they go through working with you?
It depends on what capacity they're looking for with work. So I am a qualified and certified life coach, and I do a lot of happiness, mindfulness, and empowerment. In that retrospect, I do work with women. That is my passion in life. As I mentioned, mothers. So I'll have some people come to me saying, "Look, Jess, I have a 15-year-old help, or I've got a newborn, or I've got 3 kids. It's I'm doing this X, Y, and Z parenting. What would you recommend?" Because I mentioned I'm a therapeutic social worker. So I help parents, teach them to parent their children therapeutically, especially children that have been through traumatic experiences in their early life. So there's that capacity. Very much so. My mission and major passion is women just don't know how incredible they are. And if they do, then they've taken that journey. But we are always needing to make up excuses to fit everything else in front of ourselves. And we always put ourselves on the back burner. Even empowered women forget sometimes. And so it's really important to just keep reminding yourselves and refreshing how important you are, because you are no good to anybody if you're run dry. That cup analogy that everybody uses, you can't pour from an empty cup. I shifted that and added to it. So I use that, but I say you pour into your cup so that it overflows, and it's the overflow that everybody gets without you ever depleting yourself, and to pour into your cup. And that was the journey that I went through. I needed to discover what I needed to pour into my cup. And it's the concept of what true self-care is. Again, self-care influencer, went on that journey. I am now helping others to embrace self-care and what the real meaning of it, not painting your nails, not having a hot bath. They're nice, but that's instant surface level gratification. It doesn't nurture the soul, and it certainly doesn't bring in the synergy of true self-care, which is mind, body, and soul, or mind, body, spirit. When you're implementing those three, that synergy, that is when you're truly showing up for you. That's when you're truly pouring into your cup. And that could consist of any everyday practices. Half the battle is just giving yourself the permission to do it. Thinking, well, I don't have time. Why would I do that? I haven't got time. I haven't got time. Everyone's got time. Everyone has time. You wake up every morning with an empty plate. Believe it or not, we do. And it's your choice what you fill on that plate. Yes, your priorities absolutely will be on that plate, but you choose what you put on that plate. And as the day goes on, stuff comes off. You can choose to take stuff off. It doesn't matter. The fact is there's always time, and it is your choice. There's always a choice. Sometimes it's not an easy choice, but there's always choice. And it comes down to permission, self-acceptance, and true awareness.
Yeah, I mean, I love your analogy of making the cup overflow, right? And the coolest part about doing the show is that literally all of my guests keep kind of like intertwining into each other, but you guys like don't know each other. Even just on the last episode, we were talking about like having enough for yourself to be able to help other people, and this cup analogy, right? That everybody keeps talking about. But I love the way that you spun that, is that how do we get it to overflow versus just trying to fill it up? Like that is an amazing concept too, is that as women, as mothers, as caregivers, right? Like we tend to take care of others before we take care of ourselves. And so thinking of that analogy of how do we fill it up, plus then we like make it flow over. I love that.
And everyone gets the best of you without you depleting yourself. It's beautiful. And that's not to take anything away from the fact that women caregivers, in any concept that is for you, we do love and care for everyone, and of course, and that's beautiful, but don't ever do it at the detriment of who you are and your soul and your very essence, because then they're not going to get the best of you, and they deserve the best of you.
Yeah. And that can, I mean, sometimes it can be a challenging concept for people who are like, I know, at least for me, like I give, and then a lot of times I don't practice receiving, which is definitely one of like the flip side, right? Like we can give and we can overflow our cups, but how do we receive to overflow that cup?
Yeah. And that's where self-care comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, I mean, that word, I feel like sometimes we utilize it, but really saying it more and more and more will really get people starting to actually consider and doing it. So,
yeah. And it is a buzzword that flies around a lot as well. So people use it to say, oh, I'm giving some self-care, I'm going to have a facial. Hey, guess what? Go do that, because that's fun. That's nice. But again, that will last 5 minutes. It's nice. That's what I talk about, that instant surface level. It doesn't go beneath. It doesn't leave you feeling full, fulfilled, wholesome, balanced, calm, safe, happy for long. It's not sustainable. So that's why you need to start doing the small everyday practices in your life that you do anyway, and stuff that you enjoy, to actually implement that. And it is doing the same, bringing that in every day. So for some it's meditation, others reading a book, going for walks in nature, running, exercising. There are so many different concepts. Eating well, all of that beautiful stuff, whether you do one, whether you do amalgamation of 6. Gratitude, oh my goodness, practicing gratitude. I mean, that's scientifically proven. If you do that for 90 days, you will be 10% happier in your life. That is scientifically proven. And I do that every day. People write in journals, whatever it is that you're interested in and that you like, do that for you, because that is part of that process.
yeah, and it can be really simple. Like I think that's the theme again, literally the last 3 guests, we've all had this conversation. The thing is, it can be really simple, and whatever it is for you that really helps you, whether it's one or, like you said, a combination of multiple, right? Like what are those things that you can do that are simple on a daily basis to really take care of yourself, which will ultimately take care of your mental health?
100%. 100%.
So what are, like, say if somebody is like, everybody keeps telling me to do these things and I don't know what to do and I have all this information and I'm not sure, like, how to like get myself out of this rut that maybe I feel like I'm stuck in. Do you have any like tips or tricks or anything that you would say? I know you gave like several different ones, but
Yeah.
like if they're just like, I can't. What is your thought around that?
Well, first of all, information overload is enough to put anyone off. It'd just be like, oh God, no, no. First of all, it's finding what interests it's about, you know. First of all, it's knowing who you are and what your most authentic self and what interests you. And then finding somebody or something that you can relate to. That's the key. That relation is what's going to plant the seed of inspiration or education. Once that seed is planted in your mindset, you will actively, subconsciously and consciously start not literally looking, but a part of it. You start bringing, attracting, looking for things that what it is that you need in your life that you've been inspired by, which is what my podcast is about. It's about empowering women through hearing other women's stories, very much like what we're doing here. It's the key, inspiration and education, when you're able to relate to another person that has been through a journey, an aspect, or an entirety that you are like, oh my goodness, if she can do it, so can I. I'm not alone. And that is another beautiful aspect. Nobody is alone. We are not, none of us were put on this planet to be alone. We are social beings. We need communities. We thrive within communities. Another scientific aspect is that, proven evidence, people that live soul lives don't live as long as those who are parts of communities. And I'm not talking about hundreds of people, whether you just have that one connection. We need human connection. Look what the pandemic did to us with that social distancing. It's created so many new different pathways in our minds, brains. It's created, in its sense, I guess, new mental health issues or added to them and actually made it even worse. This is why we're now in a mental health crisis, not just a physical pandemic crisis. And it's that's really harrowing. But when we're now starting to come back together, and that touch, that physical touch is so important. That's the key on underlying theraplay, which is what I'm informed in practicing as well. So I work with children and families where attachment or relationship isn't quite there. And again, when you bring in that human touch, it is outstanding. Let's look back at when babies have that first contact with their mother or their primary caregiver. That that skin on skin contact, that is a miracle in itself. And I personally experienced that with my little one. Mothers who have had the gift of that, fantastic. Others that haven't, very much like premature journeys, you don't quite always get that, but you do eventually. Anyway, I'm going on, but basically touch, human touch and contact is key to happiness and good mental health.
Yeah. No, I love that you were going on because it's like so important, right? Like I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
Get lost
It
in
is.
it.
It's so important. I mean, I know with my son because I didn't know like what the skin to skin, right? Like laying a baby on your skin, like what benefit that really truly has for them. But it is something that I think we take for granted sometimes. I think that, like you said, the pandemic has really changed our idea of community and touch and needing other people, even the people that have the introverted energy, right? Like they're even experiencing this phenomenon maybe in their minds that they're like, oh my gosh, I do need people, right? And
Yes.
so it's important to talk about. And kids also, our youth, right? Like all the things that they're going through now. And that is just I feel like a whole nother layer to
Right.
this mental health crisis.
Absolutely.
And I think we don't
We haven't
talk
even
about
scratched
it
the
enough.
surface of the detriment of what's happened. So yeah, that is a whole other conversation and a debate. And yeah, and it will come to surface, and everything will come to surface. And then of course, societies and countries and economy. That's it. Economies need to then start.
Economical.
Thank you. Yes. We'll need
Yeah.
to start addressing that. But really importantly, and the money needs to be put in, the funds need to be put into the services. More services need to open up, not just private, because not everyone can access private. It's costly. It needs to be accessible for everybody.
Yeah. And I know, I mean, so talking about the US and then the UK, like the differences there. And I know in the US, they are trying to put more funding or money, at least in Colorado, which is where I am. They're trying to put more funding and money into the schools and the mental health programs, which is amazing. But I think that, like you just said, like we need to have it on a global,
Yeah.
it needs to be accessible for everybody. So how is it
Yeah.
in the UK? I know, I mean, it seems to be very different there versus here.
So you can access, if you're gifted enough, or you're privileged enough to have the funds, the financial to support yourself, then there may still be a wait, but it's much more accessible for you. For those, and the majority, we have the NHS, thank goodness, in the UK, but it is completely at capacity. And so people that need to go through their general practitioners to get referred on to the mental health services, they are not just waiting months, it could be nearly years. It depends on order of priority, of course. Children's services, and this is where I really work within. It's known as CAMS, which is Children and Adolescent Mental Health Service. Some you would know as states, but counties here have literally closed their door, so they won't accept any new referrals because there is over a 3-year waiting list for children just to be seen, to be assessed. It is beyond a joke, and yeah, that gets my goat up. I'm just like, the government need to wake up. Hello, money needs to be put in as much as they do for A&E, accident, emergency, or the emergency room. That it's, yeah, that's fine, but we need that equivalent for mental health.
Yeah. Wow. 3 years. Holy moly. Like that. I mean, by that time, that's a whole nother lifetime. Like when you're talking about a mental health challenge, like that's literally like a whole nother lifetime, and not being able to have access for that long. Wow. That just blows my mind. I know, I mean, we don't have it nearly that bad, but I do know at least there is like 6 months to a possible year of a wait in the US. And so, yeah, we're just, I mean, inundated, but I don't believe anybody has like fully closed down. And I think that's where the coaching world is really starting to grow, right?
Yeah.
Like us who have lived experiences and have these other skills and all these tools that we can offer to people not on a waiting list, I think is really beneficial. And that's why I love like bringing people on here, is to give more resources to more people and access to the people that could help them now versus having to wait that 3 years. We don't take insurance, not all of us, but maybe there's somebody, you know, like you or I, that could help those that need it now versus waiting 3 years.
Absolutely, absolutely. And another reason why I'm creating Wellness in Business, which is fundamentally will be the Google of well-being. It is launching in the new year. It's a platform for any practitioner that can deliver a service, whether they are life coaches, therapists, counselors, trainers, nutritionists, personal trainer, anybody that has a service to help within well-being. It is for a platform to elevate their individual businesses. It's a directory for Tom, Dick, and Sally to come and look what it is they're looking for. It's also for the corporate world. We're creating the bridge for corporate world so that they know where to come and find practitioners. It's very exciting. It's going to be absolutely massive. It's in the making. My business partner and I are we're very excited, very scary as well, because it's now really becoming real, and I'm wow, just very excited, very aware of it, and I'm taking on the new challenge and learning how to build a website. So that's watch this space.
That's amazing. That was always, I mean, something that I really wanted to do with BCC Evolution is put like resources, which we have some on our website. I am just very cautious about who I actually put up there, just because I want to make sure whoever I refer to, they're helpful versus hurtful. But I think that's amazing. Like it's something that we need across the world, is this access to people, and then have it like divided, of course, by where they're able to support you at. So that's amazing. That's congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So I am curious, any like anything else that we didn't talk about that you maybe wanted to throw out there, or any thoughts, tips, or tricks that you want to share?
Well, I do work with mothers, as mentioned earlier, and because I know beautiful mothers, in whatever capacity that is for the individual, our identity as a mother, from a newborn to a 5-year-old to a 10, 17-year-old to a 30-year-old, our identity as a mother shifts and changes, and we often forget about ourselves. And it's going back to that concept of self-care. It's reminding yourself how important you are to yourself, but to your children. And so for me, it's about just helping mothers help themselves, in terms of reminding them who they are as people. They're not just mum, unless they choose to be, that's fine. But you are so much more. You are still the person you've always wanted to be, still are inside. And it's just reminding yourself how incredible you are.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so if somebody wants to work with you and or maybe get on your podcast, how would they find
Absolutely.
you?
So you can, I'm hoping, Kelly, you would have put up there it is, my address. So please do go there. You can access my TikTok account, YouTube, which I post every Wednesday. I do a positive word Wednesday, which is a positive word. And then the meaning of that word, my philosophy in in the context of personal self-development. So I do that every week. There's also the link to the book that I'm part of an anthology. And a private Facebook group, which I have as well. But also you can contact me directly if you are looking for the type of life coach mentor that I am. But yeah, that's how to reach me. I am on Facebook, pretty much all social media handles. It's the way to navigate the world. I love it. Very busy, but that's how you contact me. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you so much coming on my show. I'm so glad that we were able to connect. And I think all the things that you have coming up are amazing too. So we'll definitely for sure keep in contact. And once that is rolled out next year, we can share it with the world. At least the US world, jump on here again and maybe
Yes.
share
Yeah.
how that's going along for sure. So
Yes.
thank you
Oh, and
so
just
much.
before I finish,
Yeah.
the 3rd of October, Your Ultimate You season 5 of my podcast is being launched. So yeah, go listen. It's on Spotify, Amazon, and of course Apple. All handles have it. So go listen, and yours will be there, Kelly. I'm excited.
Yay. Yeah. So go listen because you'll hear me on there too. And you should just listen anyways.
Yay.
But yes, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you being on here.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. All right, y'all. That was another amazing episode of Mental Health Mondays, where we talk to professionals in the mental health space, advocates for mental health, or those that have lived with or experienced a mental health challenge. But as you've probably noticed, as you watch these, most of my guests have lived experience, and then it leads them into what they do on a daily basis. Which is really cool. And the guests keep like interchanging. So if you haven't watched one of them, go back and watch them, because this is our episode number, I think 39, 39, 40, 40. We're at 40. We're at 40. What? So go back and watch them. And if you want to be a guest, just reach out to us at support@bccevolution.org. But keep in mind that BCC Evolution is a 501c3 mental health and suicide awareness nonprofit. So we need your support. So if you go sign up today to be a warrior for mental health, you get one of these cool shirts so that you can show the world that you are also a warrior. And with your $20 donation or more, you get one of our really awesome shirts. So go sign up and help us bring all of this education. And don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you mash down the subscribe button. If you're watching this on LinkedIn or Facebook, make sure you follow us so that you don't miss another episode of Mental Health Mondays. But thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye, y'all.